Yeah.
So she was watching me on Periscope in the factory. Her daughter, was like, oh my God, Chocolate Johnny's amazing. And she sent me a little video with 5 of her top favorite Periscopers. And I just sent her one back and said, come and have a look at the store or at the factory. And she just loved it. And then we built a relationship. We met on Blab and we started talking. Then we met in real life. And all of a sudden she's saying, oh, I'd love to sell your product. I gave her 30 of my jars and they just sold so quick. And now, I know it's a couple of years, it's taken a while, but we are just ready to explode over in the US. Really ready.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things. I mean, I know we talked a lot about on Blab, we had some amazing Blabs, some really serious ones, but some just sitting there shooting the breeze and having a few drinks and that sort of thing. And I think that that's certainly one of the things I know that you and I talked about a lot about, especially you wanting to get your product over into an international market. And so and that's sort of one of the things that I've been thinking about, how bricks and mortar businesses can actually take advantage of using live streaming and the importance of human connections. And I know last week on the show, one of the ladies that was watching said, oh, I think I remember Leanne from Blab, and wasn't she a rancher or a farmer or something like that? And I hadn't actually mentioned that at all last week. And
yeah.
I know that, we sort of, it's those sorts of connections and people knowing about different parts of your lives that actually then give you more of a connection with people. And like with you and your chocolates, that's certainly, how people have come to know you. But yeah, so from a bricks and mortar perspective, like we, in my other part of my world, with the hay business, I put our hay business online, and generally people think of tangible, bricks and mortar businesses as not being able to actually take advantage. I mean, the amount of times that I sat and either periscoped from the back of the tractor, making hay and that sort of thing, and very, obviously not the same, because a chocolatier and a farmer, you couldn't get much further worlds apart, really.
You get they're totally two worlds apart, but both, if you do it right, the impact in your business is phenomenal. And I tell that I was just in New Zealand. I was keynoting in New Zealand about live video and at the social media conference there in Auckland. And I was telling people, it doesn't matter what you do. If you've got a bricks and mortar business or you're a hairdresser or financial, there's a guy who does life insurance. And he started doing live video with me. There's another guy who did Go Map Girl. I love this story. She just didn't want to do it. I forced her. I got her to do it. Now she loves it, and she helps people with Google Maps. Now, if you're in business, any type of business, you've got to do some type of video or live video. You really have to push that button. You really have to take that risk and make sure you just get out there and do it. Don't be afraid. Really, don't be afraid.
It's really funny. I remember when I first came to Periscope, I was known as the Periscope scaredy cat, because I hated pressing the go live button. And even now, thinking about the native video on LinkedIn, the ability to broadcast, to the LinkedIn, I still. Every time I go to do it, and it was actually one of your live streams, like not live streams, your native videos into LinkedIn that you were doing. I think it was your first one. I think I'd already done one, but it was really a case of when I saw yours, I thought, oh, for goodness sake, just press the record button and just do it. And I think one of the things that I've noticed about you over the time I've known you is that you'll pick up your camera and you'll hit go live no matter where you are. I mean, the amount of times that we've seen you walking
supermarket, the beach,
supermarket, under the lamppost once, under the lamppost on Blab, absolutely. Yeah. But I think so many of us are scared to, hit the record because, what if we don't look quite right, or what if there's something in the background that doesn't quite sit right, but I think that that's one of the things that probably we've learned. Absolutely, we're looking at.
Look at me. I'm before this. No one knows this, but Rob and Leanne and I know. I spilt my hot chocolate all over my computer. The computer wouldn't work. I'm trying to get the angle right. Rob's telling me this, and look at the background. It's all chocolate and boxes and that. Do I care? No, because I'm going to give you the best that I can while you guys look at me and listen to me. If you're worried about your background, don't worry. That's what I say, push the start broadcast button. Someone's going to watch you. Someone's going to listen. All it takes is to push it. Don't be afraid. There's people out there who need to hear your stuff. You really need to do it. There's people out there that you have a story. Those people are watching me now. You actually have a story. Someone out there has a story that can help someone else. How dare you not push that bloody start broadcast button? Push the button so I can hear your story, so Leanne can hear it, so Rob can hear it, so Susan, Mary, Peter, Melanie, so they all can hear it, because we need to hear your story. And it's just so important for your business. I remember doing my first LinkedIn and it went crazy. I thought, wow, this is sort of cool. And I wasn't really into LinkedIn, but now I love it because I can start asking now professional questions about my business. I can get feedback from guys who are my peers and even more. So, what I suggest is you just push it, do it a few times, get comfortable with it, and then start worrying about, making it look good. See, Leanne's doing her show, so she's got some beautiful flowers. She's got a white background. She's the host. She's looking great. This is what it's all about. I don't care what I look like, but when I finally do my show, I'll do the same. I'll make it look good, the background. I'll have the nice lighting. I'll have a producer and stuff like that. But at the moment, I'm just being interviewed. I want to have fun. I want us to piss ourselves laughing and, big smiles. And I want people to go, oh, my God, Chocolate Johnny, that's so true. Let's just bloody do it. Right, Leanne?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one of the things that I was just thinking about, in my world, connecting with people and making real connections is key. And I quite often say, when I really think about it now, it's something that I've done all my life. It's about making connections and being real and being human. And I think that that's one of the things that I've noticed on LinkedIn, that so many people think that when you're in a professional environment that everything has to be perfect and there's no fun and there's no laughing. And I end just about every email, every message with a smiley face. And the amount of people that say, oh, that's unprofessional. You don't do that. But I always figure, well, I'm always smiling. Very rarely would you not actually see me smiling. And I think that we get so tied up in people thinking that personal and being human is not professional, but it's about still being professional, but about being personal and being human. And I think that's, for me, that's what has taken me through everything that I've been involved in my personal and business life. And I think, especially, for you, that certainly has come through, well, from the day that I met you.
Yeah, you know what? Going back to LinkedIn, I took the piss out of LinkedIn for ages. Can't wait till LinkedIn goes live. Can't wait till LinkedIn goes video. They're going to be the most exciting videos ever, because it's all about the corporate, the suit and ties, and the CEOs. And you know what? Someone needs to track people's videos. There's guys out there who were like, "Hi, my name's David and I'm the CEO of this." And you watch these guys change, because as they start looking at themselves and learning about themselves and realizing, oh my gosh, this is the real reality. This is reality TV. Forget about Kim and Kanye and all that. This stuff is so much better, because you get to see the raw and real of us. I'm going to finally get to see the CEO of Ford talking about his next production, or I'll get to see all these guys that I've been dying to watch give me some tips and tricks because I'm a CEO of my company. I know it's small. I'm so looking forward to LinkedIn. I'm glad they did it. I'm glad people on there. The responses have been phenomenal. Like, it's honestly, Leanne, it's priceless. People don't realize. I put a post up about customer service. People were writing like essays, and I was reading the stuff, and I learned from them. And I was taught that I learn to teach, and I teach to learn. What more do I want?
Yeah, and I think that that's certainly a lot of people underestimate the value of the sharing and the comments and actually engaging and interacting with people on LinkedIn. And it's something, we have our first level connections, and then I call my friends loosely. Yep. And but then we have like the friends of friends, so like our second level connections. And what I've started to do lately is actually because when somebody likes a LinkedIn post on from someone else, if they're my first level connections, I'll see what they've liked, even if that person that's put the actual post or article is not a direct connection of mine. And so I have started commenting and on articles that aren't even in my first level connections. And so I've made an amazing connections just purely through doing that, because it's a matter of being able to, it's the reach that you can get. And there's 500 million people on LinkedIn, and there's an awful lot out there that can become business colleagues, can become partners, can become clients.
Yeah.
But as important, can actually become friends.
Let me ask you a question. How long does it take you to like something and write a quick reply?
Oh, about 30 seconds.
30 seconds. 30 seconds of your time. If you see some really good stuff, it takes 30 seconds to write a quick, tap it, like it, even share it, and make a comment. Can I tell you, I'm exactly like you. I've now started going in there and thanking everyone and replying everyone, building my relationship with these people that I don't even know in real life, because I want them to come to Perfection Chocolates. I want them to look at their Christmas list and think, oh, you know what? No, I'll buy Lindt, or I'll buy a Perugina. No, you know what? I'm going to buy off Chocolate Johnny, because he's a bloody top bloke. He's engaging with me. He has a homemade product. He's an Aussie small company. He's really giving me great content. And you know what? I'll support him. And some CEOs I know will this year come to me and they'll give me a massive order. And of course, I'll take care of them. And what did I do? I built that relationship. I built that trust, building my business. So easy. And people just don't get it.
Absolutely. And I think, from LinkedIn's perspective, that's certainly, for so long it was, seen to be, like a network that, purely professional, that only office workers or, CEOs, or you put your resume up there if you were looking for a job. And so I think that it's certainly, a lot of businesses now are actually realising that regardless of whether you're in a business to consumer market or a business to business market, we're all people and we all build human connections, and that's actually that's the way to influence and be able to impact and reach more people.
It's funny you should say that. You're right, because LinkedIn was that B2B, business to business, business to customer, customer to business. It was all business. But as a good friend of mine, Brian Kramer, says, it's H to H, human to human now. I can't wait to see someone walk into my store and say, hey, I saw you on LinkedIn. Oh, man, that's just going to blow me away, because that from Periscope so far I've had 76 people from around the world come to me, visit me and buy my product because they saw me on live video, on live Periscope. So that I've become that little, a tourist spot. Let's see what happens. Let's see. We'll see. LinkedIn. Absolutely. Come on, guys.
Well, I did that to you, didn't I?
Yeah. I mean, I looked at you and went, oh my gosh, that's Leanne. I know you.
And exactly. And I think that was, a lot of people I have really doubt the ability to build, that they think that you actually need to be face to face, touching skin to skin to be able to build real deep relationships. And like the power of video and live streaming really now has given us the ability to build really deep relationships wherever you are. Location in geographics now is irrelevant. And so what I did, Johnny and we'd been friends for a couple of years, and I was actually starting a full-time job at like the cancer care centre that I work at, and all of a sudden I literally, this was 3:00 in the morning, I thought, oh no, I'm starting work next week. How am I going to be able to get to Sydney? I just wanted to go to Sydney and meet some of the buddies that I'd met on Blab and on Periscope. So at 3:00 in the morning, I'm booking a flight to Sydney for the Friday. And I rang a girlfriend and I said, the next morning, I said, Kaz, do you want to come to Sydney with me? We've got to go and meet Chocolate Johnny. Right. And so we did. I literally flew to Sydney on the Friday and arrived at the hotel and rang the store to make sure that Johnny was there, and literally jumped in a cab and walked in and surprised him. So,
So for all those people who are out there watching this and listening to this and are afraid to go out and meet people in real life, of course, you need to build that relationship. You need to build that trust. But Leanne, what happens when you and I first met? What did we do? Did we shake hands or did we hug?
We actually gave each other a massive hug and a kiss, and it was as if we'd seen each other yesterday. It wasn't as if that we'd never met each other before in real life. And probably the only thing that I went, oh, hell, you're tall. Sometimes you can't get that perspective when you're sitting in front of a camera, or no matter whether it's on your laptop or on your phone. So sometimes you don't get that perspective. But it was just as if that we just hadn't seen each other for a week. And
I mean, it is so true. When I saw you, it's just I ran up. And first thing we do is, it was like seeing my mate that I hadn't seen for a little while. And it was just a natural progression to wrap my arms around you. You wrapped it. Oh, hi, how are you? And then, we felt so comfortable. We felt so at ease. I mean, I've had this year, I've been fortunate enough to speak at a few events. And I remember at Social Media Marketing World, I met 3 people that I've been dying to meet. And the first thing I saw them was just give them that big hug, and everyone else as well. And people are like, oh my God, it's Chocolate Johnny. And I said, give me a hug. Just come around and give me a hug. And they love it. It makes them feel special, and you feel special as well. But yeah, we've got to get out of this online and get on offline, but be switched on and plugged in. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? We've got to get off. I know we're online, and that word is online. We've got to get offline, which doesn't mean that you're getting off. But once you get offline, meet in IRL, as my kids say. That's if you got, for the oldies, that's in real life. So you've got to be still plugged in and switched on. Give a hug. It doesn't take that much.
And I think that's where a lot of people, especially say on LinkedIn, you think about the fact that you connect on LinkedIn, but it's actually taking that relationship offline and meeting for a coffee. Like, I've met so many people that I'd never met before, met them on LinkedIn, and probably more at the moment geographically, like just here in Adelaide, but said, come on, let's just catch up and have a coffee. And it's taking it from actually being on the social media, on the actual LinkedIn platform to taking things in real life, as you said. But from the perspective of being able to build the relationships, I mean, obviously, being human, I mean, we've all got different layers to us, and I think I don't want to.
We're all bloody onions, peeling back and peeling
Absolutely.
back. And as we start peeling, we're like crying, oh my God, this layer is like, So, yeah.
Exactly. So I suppose just getting back to think, your business, as far as Perfection Chocolates is your bricks and mortar business, but it's certainly being, through social media and the streaming has taken your own personal side to a different level, as far as with, being able to go over to the US and speak at social media world.
Social media marketing world. Yeah, I've done 4 talks this year, and it's you know what, Leanne, and you know me, I'm not afraid of the camera. I'm big, 6 foot something, and bright and bubbly and gregarious, and I just love, big smile, and even when the crap's about to hit the fan, I'm still smiling. So yeah, I've always dreamed of being a speaker, and I've got that opportunity to speak, and there's just nothing like it. I love getting up there and doing it, and that's all come from my social media, from my Instagram, from my Facebook, from my Periscopes, from now LinkedIn. I'm lucky that I've got one of the most well-known Aussie LinkedIn women of the world. Yes, who's my friend. It's like, hey, Leanne, how do I do? Yeah, no worries, Chocolate Johnny. Let's do this or let's do that. I mean, when people would, I remember when people were talking about you and they were saying, oh yeah, she's the biggest and she's got this following and she does this so well. I'm thinking, oh yeah, okay, I'm not really into LinkedIn. Then I remember looking at you and going, holy cow, look at that. She's taken this farming business and hay and whatever and created and helped, sold tons of it. So
it's funny you should say that. I've been on LinkedIn since 2007, and I said last week I actually looked at because you can export your LinkedIn history and your connections, and when you export it, you can import it into an Excel spreadsheet, and it brings up when you actually connected with someone. So I did as you know, I've nearly got 30,000 connections, and so the actual spreadsheet's pretty big. But so what I did was I went back and I sorted it by date. And I think in 2007 I had 12 connections, and in 2008 I had 35, and then 2009 I had 200. So over the year, and then I sort of started learning about it. But it's one of those things. It wasn't really until Blab. I remember being on Blab on screen with there was Stephen Caggiano, there was Ryan Steinhoff, and Kevin Madison. And, I just jumped into a seat, and no one, I was in my farming world and hadn't done a lot with, I'd been building my LinkedIn network, but hadn't really sort of gone out and broadcast it. And I remember sitting there talking, and I said, I do a bit with LinkedIn. And Stephen Caggiano said to me, and I said, I've got I think I had 25,000 connections. And I'll never forget the look on his face. He said, what? And I said, yeah, I've got 25,000 connections. And I remember him saying, he said, Leanne, that's really remarkable. There's not that many people in the world that have got that level of connections. But he said, I don't mean this to sound mean, but he said, you're not famous. He said, what's more remarkable than that is, he said, you're not famous and you're a farmer from South Australia. He said, that's
what a great story.
He said, that's even more bizarre. And it probably wasn't until then I sort of went, oh, okay, doesn't everyone have that amount of connections or, networking ability? Or it's been, for me, a really interesting couple of years as far as really taking, embracing the fact that I do have that level of, that network, and it does give me the ability for a really wide-ranging, being able to meet people and be able to, probably for me, it's as much about actually, helping people with their LinkedIn profiles and how to actually build their networks. But it's about being able to use my network to help other people. So, if you said to me, Leanne, can you find the name of the CEO of Ford, because I'd really like to ask him a couple of questions, I could probably do that. He's probably a second level connection.
Yeah, somewhere around there. There's the CEO of. There's a guy called Elon Musk. Can you see if you know him?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right. Because
I'd love to buy a Tesla, and I don't know if he gives mates rates or, we'd love perfection. I'd love a Tesla with Perfection Chocolates on one side and then Chocolate Johnny on the other side, or just all like. I'd like to put stickers to make it look like a battery-powered chocolate bar. Oh, what a dream come true.
Well, I'm not quite sure that I'll see what I can do. I'll see whether I can connect with him, and I'm not quite sure that I can arrange to actually have you have that vehicle. But look, let's just see what happens. Look, Johnny, I think that this has been so fantastic talking to you, and probably one of the things that I was just going to. So, if you could give 3 tips to bricks and mortar, mum and dad, any sort of small business or business, what would they be as far as, the power of video and live streaming? And if you could give us 3 tips, what would they be?
Tip number 1 is just do it. I've got a hashtag called Power in the Pocket. My coach, she and I talked about it, and she says, it's amazing how you've got the power in your own pocket. And I've got to be careful how I say that. So I also say the power in your handbag. Your phone, whether it's an Android or an iPhone, is such a powerful tool. It reaches millions of people, not potentially can reach millions of people. So if you're a small bricks and mortar business, there's people out there who need to know about your business. So I would definitely just tell them first, push that button, go on. If you've got a business page on Facebook, definitely do a live video. And you know what? You're not going to have anyone watching you, or you might have 2 people. Who cares? Just go on there for 5 minutes, talk about who you are. Here's a title for you. Okay, for you bricks and mortar business, you can either say, will the real John Kapos, Leanne Isaacson, Rob, Susan, Mary stand up? Or you can say, this is, come and meet Perfection Chocolates, come and see Wendy's hairdressing salon, come and see Auburn Meadow Meats, and just broadcast and talk about your business first. So in that, people love the behind the scenes. So if you're going to do that, do behind the scenes. Look at this. I'm not afraid to show you that this is one of our storerooms. There's chocolates here. If I reach out, there's a bag of white honeycomb. Do you know what? Okay, you might be at a florist, and so you can pull out and show us what a bunch of flowers. You could be at a butcher shop. You can show us a cut of meat or how to cut it. You could be at an Italian restaurant and show us the menu on live video. You could be a chiropractor and talk about posture. You could be a funeral director and talk about how to do a good eulogy. You could be a life insurance guy and talk about how to find the proper life insurance for you. So don't tell me that just because I got chocolate, it's easy. It's easy for anyone. So behind the scenes, do questions and answer, and show your product. Like I said to you before, you could show a bale of hay and say, this is my best bale of hay, or whatever, or a camera, or my best, pair of sunglasses, So that definitely, if you're a bricks and mortar business, we're all finding it tough. You definitely have to do some type of video. You have to do some type of live video. And if you're afraid, here's another piece of advice. If you're afraid to go live and look at yourself, turn the camera around so you're looking at the store or the product. If you're too shy to look at yourself and you think, oh, my hair, my eyes, my this, my that, I'm not good looking, or that, or my voice, turn the camera around, push the broadcast button, and show us, where you are. Maybe walking into your store or into your office, or do that. That then build up your confidence, and off you go. You've done your first live video.
Fabulous. Was that 3 tips, or was that just one all rolled into one? Fantastic.
I think it was 1 tip rolled into 10. I don't know. You know me. Just give.
Look, thank you. We could sit here and talk all day, couldn't we?
Yeah, we could, Leanne. You know that.
So, look, thanks, Johnny. It's been fantastic to have you on the show, and I just so look forward to continuing our relationship. And I need to jump on a plane and come over to Sydney at some stage and walk in and surprise you again. No, actually, I won't. This time we'll actually organise to spend a bit of time together.
Yeah, no, definitely. I can't wait. We'll sit down. We'll have a coffee and a mocha, and we'll do a live video because we're so easy and good at it. We'll do it LinkedIn on yours.
Okay.
But no,
yeah.
Leanne, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. You know that.
Wonderful. Thank you. And so if anyone would like to get in touch with Johnny and buy your Perfection chocolates, can you just give us your website address? What's the best way?
Yep.
I don't even think we know exactly where you are.
Most
you can give us their address to actually walk in and buy a hot chocolate.
Most people go to my website, chocolatejohnny.com. But if you want to buy any of my products, it's perfectionchocolates.com.au. Get on there and, tell me that you saw me on here. And, of course, Chocolate Johnny will always take care of you and give you a few extra, maybe some caramel koalas or a bit of our caramel jar, a white honeycomb, who knows. But, yeah, so I've got, perfectionchocolates.com. And if you want to just go onto our Facebook page and connect there, that's where it's all at.
Fantastic. And I can actually vouch for the honeycomb and the hot chocolates. They were fantastic.
Thanks,
so
Leanne.
thanks, Johnny. And now,
thanks, guys.
You're welcome. And so one of the things that Johnny and I talked about is certainly the power of LinkedIn and connections. So I'm really excited to be starting a live, like a mastermind in October, which is online. So if anyone would like some help with their LinkedIn profile, I'm going to be running 2 sessions a week for 4 weeks to help people with their profile, with their connections, and how I go and really showing how I go about it, building engagement and building networks and profiles on LinkedIn. So if anyone would really like some help in literally me holding their hand and going through the whole LinkedIn maze, just visit my website, leanneisaacson.com, and click on the link to Mastermind. And it would be fantastic to see as many of you in the mastermind as what we can. And so over the coming weeks, I'm going to be interviewing more people on how the value of building human connections and how we build them on LinkedIn and other parts of our world. So stay tuned. So Wednesdays at 6 p.m. is my Link Together, the Art of Human Connection show. So I really look forward to seeing you all next week. And again, thanks to my brilliant producer, Rob Hix of Hixvideo and Enlightened Audio Visual. If anyone would like to have a show produced either on Facebook Live, I mean, Rob's fantastic as far as, I sit here, he has it, he gives me hand signals and tells us which camera's swapping and he does an amazing job. And so if anyone would like to start their own show, then please get in touch with and Johnny. Johnny's going to start to do his show. So, Rob is just fantastic from a production and audio-visual perspective. So thanks, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Thanks, Johnny. See you soon. Bye.